Hi, this is Russell Oakes, the Technical Services Manager at Box Telematics, and today I'm going to show you the Task Scheduling and Reminders section of SPOTON. To get to the new section of SPOTON, which was recently released in version 6, when you first load up, you'll be seeing the normal fleet screen, and then you select the Alerts section at the top. And then if you select the Reminders section on the left-hand side, you will see this table, which obviously look different for your fleet, but this is for our demo fleet, which includes all of the vehicles in the fleet and any tasks that have been set up for them. By default, there are 4 tasks set up on every company on the system, one for insurance, MOT, service and tax. The idea is that you can actually add any task you like to that list. We set these up as a default, but you could have anything from checking tyres, changing tyres, basically anything you like that you want to monitor on your vehicles on a scheduled basis. But I'll just take you through with these as the example. So what you can see is the 4 scheduled tasks, and there are 4 different states. You can see them in here. You've got red, green and yellow. Yellow being pending shows that sometime in the future that task is required for that vehicle. So in this case, CA07 FPT is due its insurance renewing on the 23rd of the 8th, 2013. The next one you've got is the due. Now, due actually means that it's due to be completed soon, within a certain specified time. Now, there's other sections of the software where you can actually set what that's specified at. By default, it's set 31 days. I'll show you that in a little bit. But basically, once it knows when it's supposed to be scheduled for, if the date becomes 31 days, within 31 days of that date, it'll change to due rather than pending. And then if it goes past the actual due date, you end up with an overdue and a red box on there. So that's the 3 basic states that any one task can be in. And taking this just on face value for these, if you had a task like the insurance that's due on FL11BUE, and you've completed it, you will want to tell the system that that's been done so that it resets the counter as such. So you'll right click on the section, select task completed, and you'll be presented with this box. Now it will automatically select the appropriate task that you had selected, but you can, if you've done all 4 of them or however many different tasks at the same time, you can select to have them all completed on the date that you specify. So if we specify insurance on this one, just as for this case, and then we can set the date completed. Obviously, automatically sets itself as today's time and date. But if you want to update your system retrospectively, so if you know that this service was done 2 months ago on this one vehicle, but you're just coming to use this part of the system now, you can go in and you can say it was actually completed on the 7th of August. Double click on that, and you can actually set a date and a time. Now, the reason that you set the time that it was serviced is because the odometer reading and the operating hours, which you may or may not use, but the odometer reading for most people can be manually edited at the point that it's serviced, or it will make an assumption of what the odometer reading was at the time that you're selecting for the service to have been completed. So you'll see at the moment it says 20,916. If I go back to the first, so 20,771. So you can, it shows you what the mileage was then, but if you know that the mileage was different then, maybe from the actual insurance certificate or for an MOT certificate, something like that, you can actually say, well, no, on this date and at this time it was actually this mileage. What that'll do then is actually modify the data from that date and time that you've specified forward, modifying all of the odometer readings from that point onwards. So it'll essentially recalibrate your odometer to a certain point. So if you want to put these in, you can do. You can say what the odometer reading was at that point, or if it's already right, or if you don't know it, it doesn't make that much difference. Obviously, you can change the odometer of any vehicle at any time. So you can select so that task was completed, we'll say on the first, and press OK. What you can do is put in any comments as well. So if you can say, say if this was actually for a service or one of the other tasks, if a comment would be relevant. So if it was for a service, you could say tires changed, and then press OK. And then what that will do is put a comment against that completion. So what you can see here at the bottom is you get a history for each of the tasks and what has been done so far. So you can actually go back and see. You can see here where I've been playing about with the system as such. I've filled in here where on the 1st of the 8th, 2013, is the next time the MOT is due, sorry, but on the 7th of the 8th, 2012, when I actually completed the task, I put a note of needed new headlight bulb. So if there are things that are done to the vehicle during the service history, you can make notes of it so that you can go back and you can see at any point what was done when, and you can see when next time it's due at, the last time it was completed on. And the other thing you can do, if I just update this quickly, you can see that that's changed to pending now rather than due. But if I was to actually go in and delete this completed task, it will revert everything back again. So if I update this again, there we go, so it's due again now. So you can go back if you make a mistake. It's not life or death. You can go and you can change it back again and reset it to anything you like. So that's the general day-to-day usage of the reminders system. The next portion of this that needs to be shown is actually how you get all of your vehicles into a state where they're going to be set up for the right reminders and things like that. That's done through the admin section of SPOTON. So if you click on admin and then through assets on the left hand side, and then the best place to start is the actual reminder schedule. So here what we can see is this is where you dictate how often a certain schedule needs to be done, a certain task needs to be done. So you see here we've got our insurance, MOT and service, and it's literally a case of you say there's 3 sections. There's the first occurrence. Now that is when you've first got the vehicle, when is the first time that this particular task should be done. So for MOT, again, as a default for all vehicles, we've set that at 36 months because a brand new vehicle comes with doesn't require an MOT for 3 years. So we set it so that if you've got a brand new vehicle, you won't get a reminder until 36 months later. Subsequently, 10,000 miles for the service, and then obviously there's no first occurrence on insurance and tax because that will be done when you first get the vehicle. For the case of the recurrences, this is where how often it has to happen again once you've completed the task. So after that first 36 months for the MOT, it will pop up saying, this is due, this is overdue. You complete the task as I showed you earlier, and then the recurrence dictates when the next one is due. So again, by default, MOT after the first 36 months should be every 12 months after that. Same with insurance is every 12 months, taxes every 12 months, and service every 10,000 miles. And these can be modified, and I'll show you how to do that. The last section is the advance notice, which is where I said the difference between when something is pending and when it's due. So even though it's pending for the end of the month, you can set it so that 30 days before that date, it starts saying that it's due. So it shows it in green. Again, you can set any of the variables for this. So you could say the number of days, or with the service interval, the number of miles that have been travelled. So you can say within 1,000 miles of the 10,000 miles, let me know that it's due so that we can make arrangements. So it's a very basic setup for how you want to be reminded and when you want to be reminded about certain tasks. What you can do though is be a little bit more versatile with it. Rather than having one reminder schedule, because you may have there may be different service schedules for different types of vehicles, like trucks might require servicing every 6,000 miles. Or as said, as you can add extra tasks, you may well want to put in other things which are specific only to certain types of vehicles. So what I've done here is I've actually set up 2 reminder schedules, one for vehicles, just standard cars as I'd think of it, and trucks, lorries, things like that. And you see for vehicles you've got the service at 10,000 miles, and for the trucks I've set it at 5,000. That just enables you to give you that little bit of versatility and set things up if there's a slight difference between certain vehicles needed. And if you wanted to add or edit any other ones, I mean, you can add one, and you just give the schedule a name, so we'll call it motorbikes. And then you can add the tasks in individually, so MOT, insurance, tax, service, and as I said, you can add anything you like in there really, so new helmet. And it's a case of literally just typing in the values you want. So if your first occurrence for the MOTs on motorbikes are different, I don't honestly know, then maybe it's 24 months, and you just put that in there, and maybe the servicing is every 5,000 miles again. So you just fill in the values as you see fit, and then save it. So I'll cancel this. So then you end up with as many reminder schedules as you like. So the next part is actually associating those schedules to certain types of vehicles or certain makes and models as such. And that's done through the asset type section of SPOTON on the left. And what you'll see here on our demo fleet is I've set up a few different vehicle types and set them up with different reminder schedules, or at least one different one. So what we've got is for each asset type you get a make, a model, any various information, the type of fuel it uses. You can put in your MPG, and then you can select which reminder schedule you want to use. So to say if you've got a new vehicle, say you've just bought a new Mercedes, and you want your system to be able to reflect all of the correct information for it, you can add a new one, select it as a vehicle, say Mercedes, say SLK. Information is anything that you want to put in there really. The fuel type is actually important when it comes to other reports in the system. What it'll use is the fuel type dictates the CO2 usage, because that's a standard set, and then there are reports in the system which will start using the fuel type to actually display the amount of CO2 used based on the miles per gallon and the fuel type that you've got selected. And obviously the miles per gallon is what can be filled in here as well, so you can put any value you like in there. What you can also do, first of all, reminder tasks. This is where you select one of those options that you set on the previous reminder screen. So we'll say a Mercedes SLK obviously isn't a truck, so it's just a normal vehicle. That means it will get that normal 36-month, 10,000 mile, 36-month MOT, 10,000 mile service schedule. What you can also do is set specific speed limits based on the types of roads that they're on. Now obviously for normal vehicles, again, normal road speed limits, but we're aware that for trucks and other heavy goods vehicles that there can be different, or there are different speed limits for different roads. So whereas motorway speed limit may be 70 for your normal vehicle, yeah, it should be 56 on trucks. So you can literally set any speed you like in here, and it's just a case of typing it. So you can say residential 20, single carriageway 50, 50, 56, whichever's pertinent really. If you don't fill anything in, and we take that information, we do need to fill it in to start off with if you do change it. What I will show you though is I'll save this, but what I will show you is if you don't fill anything in, I'll add another one. Mercedes CLK, unleaded vehicle. If we save it, we do enter a default in there. So even though you don't type anything in, the boxes are blank, it does enter a default in there. That will change in an updated version of SPOTON. We will actually be adding, making it so it does show those speed limits in there. It's a little bug, but not a big one. So while you can enter anything you like, if you don't enter anything, it'll put these standard speeds in for you. And the effect that that'll have with having those speeds in is, whereas the current system, we've had many customers say that they want their trucks to have different speeding alerts to vehicles, because a truck doing 70 miles an hour on a motorway is a big deal, rather than a car doing 70 miles an hour isn't. So the speeding alerts that our system works off were based on just, are you going faster than the road says you're supposed to, regardless of what type of vehicle you are. This enables us to be a little bit more specific. If you're this certain type of vehicle and you're going over this speed on this road, then alert me. And that's actually a feature that's being worked on at the moment in the background. But if you set up your system as I've shown you with the speeds in there, once that's actually been implemented on our side, it will start working and you'll start getting speed alerts. So it's best to get these kind of things set up now. Okay, so from this point, once you've got your different asset types on there, and what we have actually done is for anyone with existing fleets, if you've got makes and models already on your fleet, they've already been imported as asset types with very basic default information. So you can go in and clean it up, change any information you like. It saves a little bit of the work. The next thing you actually want to do is if you've got an asset type now, what you want to do is associate that asset type with a specific vehicle. So you can see you've got our list of assets here, and these are just the vehicle regs, and then you've got the types selected here. So if this FL11HFZ is not actually a Porsche Boxster, which being one of our vehicles, it's more than likely not. If we select to edit the asset, you can just select it. So we can say that is the Mercedes CLK and save it. That's it. So if you've got a vehicle that doesn't have an asset type selected, then you can just go in there, edit it, and select the right type of asset. And the good thing is you get a bit of uniformity as well, because if you've got 20 trucks, all of the same make and model, you only have to have one asset type and select all of the trucks. And then if you make any changes to that asset type, the road speeds or the reminder schedule that's used, it gets applied to all of those trucks. So it gives you, and you don't have to worry about each individual asset. You only have to worry about each individual asset type and the fact that the asset type is associated with the correct vehicles. So that's all of the background work that's actually required to get yourself into a position where this reminder screen is giving you the information you need on a day-to-day basis. Once that's actually been done, you can obviously go to SPOTON and look at the reminders anytime you like. There are also 2 new reports which have been set up, and I can show you how to configure these reports. Unfortunately, I can't show you examples, but they are fairly simple. If you go to you can go to reports or to report subscriptions. As you know, you can set up a subscription for any type of report on here. But the report types are completed task report and task reminder report. If you click on completed task report and select the display groups that you need and the time period that you require, it will send you a report which is basically all of the tasks that have been completed within the time period that you've specified. So you can see how many of your services have actually been done this week, how many MOTs have been renewed, that kind of information. The task reminder report we think will be the one that's going to be a little bit more useful to people, because it's the one telling you what's due. So rather than you having to go into SPOTON all the time and go and double checking on the alert section, is this one due? No, it's not, going back again. What it'll actually do, you can set yourself up a schedule to receive this report. Now here we're running it just as a one-off, so obviously we can just run it and it'll tell us which ones are due right now. Now there is one slight difference between this version that I'm showing you now and the version that will be released in the next couple of weeks. At the moment you have to type in the name of the reminder task you want to be reported on. In the upcoming version it will actually be tick boxes for the ones that you've got configured anyway. So rather than you having to remember what the name of your reminders are, it will just present them to you and say which ones do you want. You just tick the relevant ones. If we were to set this up on a subscription, we can scroll down. We have task reminder report. Again, you can fill in the tasks, which, as I said, won't be necessary in the future. And the groups that it's required for. Now, this tick box here is quite important. It says send only when data is available. What that essentially means is if there's no vehicles that are due for any of their tasks, then don't send the report. Which means you're not going to end up with an empty report coming through to you every day, because you could have the schedule set up to come through to you every day or once a week or whichever way you like. But if there's nothing actually due anytime soon, you don't really want a report coming through to you, a blank report every week or so. So you set that option, which is on by default, and then at least that way you only get a report come through when one of them is due. So when you see that email, rather than you've been getting sick of all the blank ones the last 2 weeks. When that email comes through, you know something needs to be done pretty soon on one of the vehicles. So you can set it up like any other schedule, as said, and you can save that, and then you'll start getting them. That is pretty much it. There is part of the SPOTON activation software as a dealer when you're activating your new units after the installations. The SPOTON activation software now actually gives you the choice of adding a asset type on at that point. So when you're doing a load of installations, you can either select one of the asset types that already exists, or you can create a new one. So you don't have to go back and do it all in SPOTON after the installation's been done. You can do it during and put all that kind of information in. So that about covers everything, I believe. Obviously, if you've got any questions about this section of SPOTON and the tasks and reminders, you can call customer services, or sorry, technical services on 01675434230, or if you speak to your account manager, they'll be able to help you out in any way. Okay, thank you.